What are the typical challenges or frustration that come up for you?
That is a good question. So, typical challenges that I face day to day. Aligned Horizons did start where it was only me. And at the time, I was still working a full time job elsewhere. So, that I feel like for me personally, balancing many hats at once would be a challenge. But now that I've completely transitioned, where I've been solely with Aligned Horizons since July of last year, so it's been about 7 months ish, and now and bringing on more contract employees, it's now it's been a lot easier to focus my attention solely on this. But I would say as a owner and clinician, being able to balance all of the different responsibilities would probably be the biggest challenge, but it's also at the same time my favorite part about it.
Welcome to the Convergence Play podcast.
Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you taking out time and being here today. And I was going through your profile and your current organization as well, Aligned Horizon. So I think this can be a good starting point for us, especially to learn about your journey and your mission and vision behind Horizons. What exactly you are trying to solve here?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This is actually my very first podcast. So, yeah, thank you for taking the time. So Aligned Horizons officially started 2 years ago in January, so it's still brand new. I've been a speech language pathologist now, gosh, roughly 2013. I started as an assistant and then I went through grad school. So finished the program 2015, I want to say. So it's been a little over 10 years in the field. And yeah, I ended up shifting from solely clinician to founder and business owner. Truthfully, it wasn't a path that I always thought that I would take, but I wanted to do things a little differently without having to be as much boxed into certain rules. So yeah, I it's been a fun journey so far.
Great, great. Thank you for sharing that. And I was hoping to ask you this, that most of the time for founders there is something deeply personal that motivates them to start a business or go into anything, any specific area. Is there any such reason or philosophy behind this, especially the areas in which Aligned Horizon is trying to make an
Yeah, and that's a very good question, and I feel like I could talk a lot about that. So what I've found in a more traditional medical model, I've worked in different settings from outpatient rehab, inpatient school, some acute care in a hospital. And what I've found for me is I often felt rushed or short on time to really connect with my clients and their families and provide and it's no fault to other providers, just the nature of the system and having that. So what I had envisioned was creating an opportunity to truly immerse myself where my client is and in their home and be mobile and have that time to really sit down, see what the needs and concerns are with the family and then be able to address it in real time and provide that support because as a speech language pathologist, one of my areas that I focus in is communication and advocacy for my people. And when it's done in a secluded, more medical, sterile environment, it's hard for that interaction to be natural. So I find that having that time to slow down, be in the home with the caregivers or communication partners, it's just a lot easier to see how to enhance communication, provide support. So with Aligned Horizons, to get to the thing, my vision was to truly make a meaningful impact.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. So, if you shed a little bit more light on, of course, in the field of healthcare or caregiving, usually you are not just interacting with one individual. Let's say not only with patient itself, herself or himself, but you are also communicating with other stakeholders as well. Maybe their family members, or if they are with their parents and guardians. Is this something you are also dealing with, and how you are actually taking care of communications with multiple stakeholders at the moment?
Yeah, very much so. So my sessions, it's usually a family affair. Usually, if I serve people from pediatric. So yeah, definitely and I feel like that is so paramount to have all the stakeholders involved in this type of care because when there is that separation of, all right, here's my child in the waiting room, go do therapy. I wait, the child comes back. There's often that disconnect. Well, what are we working on? How did they do? What's going on? It is easy as a clinician to then say, oh, we did X, Y, Z, but to truly watch it and be a part of it, I find it builds confidence more so with the COVID than it being this isolated sort type of.
So, how much technology you are using right now in your day-to-day work? And if I may ask you about your technology landscape in terms that what are those things on your mind to start exploring and start adopting in order to improve your own efficiency or improve the efficiency of your organization?
Yeah, and I'm sorry the audio is getting a little fuzzy for a little bit on my end, so I apologize, but I want to make sure I understood the question. It was with how we're using technology and incorporating it with the different clients and to support their community.
That's correct.
So,
Yeah.
whenever I think of technology, one big thing in our field is AAC. So AAC is something that I incorporate from pediatric to adult, just depending on what example is speaking autistic client. I often introduce, AAC pretty early and usually lean towards more of the dynamic high tech devices. So it's exciting to see where the field's going in that.
I think these days there is, I think, no conversation is complete without mention of artificial intelligence and automation and all those things. And especially the revolution it has done in terms of taking off the administrative or operational work off your plate. Because when we talk to, for example, many surgeons, they're very happy that AI has stepped in and because they are used to doing surgeries and if they have been in something, appreciate that technology is stepping in and helping them with a lot of administrative and documentation related. Get some help in this regard in terms of adopting some tools or bringing in such sort of processes inside your organization.
Yeah, yeah. So I know I talked about it more from the client's perspective than that. And on my end, yeah, I definitely see value in using AI, especially when it comes to cutting down the time spent with paperwork and planning. One thing that I find to be, since I am mobile, I don't have a brick and mortar. I'm on the road, so I'm often traveling between clients. So to do notes, try to remember everything by the end of the day. That can be a lot. So one thing that I've been doing is even info dump into chat GPT's the voice. And as I'm driving, I'll say, all right, and I'll like enable like client one of Tuesday, just so I can refer back to the thread. And I'll say, all right, I'm going to tell you what we did in our session. So that way later I can copy and paste it directly into the video on system. So I find that to be total game changer because I'm able to get my ideas out while I'm driving and talking. And then later it's ready to go. One thing that would be cool, I was actually thinking about this on my drive. Wouldn't it be amazing if I were to speak my note and it automatically is connected to my system and can do it for me so I don't have to do the copy and paste later?
Yeah.
That would be cool. I don't, maybe it exists, but that's one thing I was thinking about in my head.
So no, no, absolutely. You are absolutely right. I think this can be a good addition to overall improving your productivity. And again, one thing I would just point out based on our experience is that using technology televisions are actually also improving the show rate of their appointments. So if before, I mean, usually what happens is if you have an appointment, usually it's possible that patient forgets or they don't show up. It does not do pop-ups on the calendar. So using technology, there are some easy ways where automatic reminders are going out. They are being notified 1 day in advance, few hours in advance, and it has really improved the show rate by 30 to 40% in general. So I think it's again, maybe that's, I'm not sure if you also face the same challenge that meeting the schedule and they have not shown up. But again, this can be one thing for you to keep on your radar in case you want to bring in near future. Into your
Yeah, I agree. I think that the automated reminders are so helpful. Luckily, and I use a EMR system called Jane Scheduling, and embedded within it, it has that ability to do like email, text reminders, and all that.
it's good.
Yeah, I'll definitely set it up where it's automatic for everybody to get it 48 hours in advance and then the day before. And then I will also do personally a message just since I'm getting in my car, like, hey, I'll be there this. So they're getting at least 3 or 4, most of which are automated, luckily. But I don't have many cancellations.
I think with volume and growth, I think this will be a good challenge to have. Not a bad
Yes, it
challenge,
is. It's a
but
good
it
I
would
always say it's a good problem to be too busy.
day. So I want to ask, in your day-to-day work, what are the typical challenges or frustration that come up for you?
That's a good question. So typical challenges that I face day to day. I will say, since it's Aligned Horizons did start where it was only me, and at the time I was still working a full-time job elsewhere. So that I feel like for me personally, balancing many hats at once would be a challenge. But now that I've completely transitioned, where I've been solely with Aligned Horizons since July of last year. So it's been, yeah, about 7 months ish. And now bringing on more contract employees. Yeah, now it's been a lot easier to focus my attention solely on this. But I would say, as a owner and clinician, being able to balance all of the different responsibilities would probably be the biggest challenge. But it's also at the same time my favorite part about it. So it's part challenge, part fun with the job as well. So, but yeah, that would probably.
So you mentioned that you have additional team members coming on in recent times. So you are growing on the clinician side at the moment, or you're also adding some other roles?
Yeah, so right now it's been more on the clinician side, just because I do have a wait list, which is exciting. So trying to get to those families to provide support. But now I'm finding I'm I'm about to hire someone to do more of an administrative role that can help me with the back end of things. Because right now I'm onboarding, I've also seen clients, I have grad students, so it's a lot at once. That admin role is going to be amazing.
So you mentioned about your EMR. Seems like a great tool and giving you what facilities, what you need right now. Uh, is there any other integrations that you are also thinking about? Session like that is to create a community or create a network where people should be able to connect and integrate with one another. So, for example, if somebody systems, is there any tools or systems that you are looking to connect with your EMR or with your current practice that you feel will be beneficial for your patients?
Yeah, right now I use the EMR Jane I use does have the ability to provide quick communication via text, email, and also like dropping documents or videos or what resources that are helpful for. So yeah, sharing that with families as well. Now, another thing too, wouldn't be on the high tech end of things. I guess if I think of us to humans in general, one thing that's very important to our vision is community being at the forefront and center and bringing people together. So while individual therapy happens, one on one often in that home environment, we have community groups. Two right now, one being Social Seeds, which is geared towards the littles, and that's a part caregiver support group, part structured play group. We have one tonight, which is exciting, but it's a chance for families to connect, to meet one another, and we invite other professionals in where it's not an as stuffy of a medical setting. It's more living room chat where you could ask OTs, PTs, whoever, questions. And then the other being Voice Fit, which is geared towards adult population, specifically Parkinson's, but it's a group kind of fitness type class, but geared towards voice and communication. So if you think of technology on that end as the ability of bringing people together to support one another as well, that's something that's important to us too.
So what I was saying is that, in your opinion, power of building a strong community in this space or in this area, how much is that important? I understand you are probably doing your best in being involved with the community, going to different maybe events or representing your organization as part of creating awareness.
Mm.
What is your advice to people who are working in this space that why they should come together for networking events or builders or stuff like that?
So advice to other professionals of why they should to consider community building and all of that. I would say it's something that is often overlooked, and it's so complicated. I would say it's important. I'm going to backtrack. I feel a lot of these families in different ways feel isolated. Oftentimes, when you're navigating these challenges, it can feel like you're alone and you're the only one. That community piece is so integral because all of a sudden it's almost like this someone else's, and then they can share their stories. And I feel that there's a different type of healing that happens when you are able to be seen by someone going through that experience that we necessarily can't provide, but we could at least facilitate that union between other people. To me, I would tell other professionals it's important to consider it just because of the mass benefit that you'll see when caregivers feel supported, client is supported too. And I feel that is often the missing piece. Yes, is bringing these people together.
Thank you. So, for our viewers, if you have to highlight some of the common misconceptions you come across with respect to speech therapy, if you had to highlight few of those, what are those common misconceptions that are out there?
Okay, so some common misconceptions with speech therapy. I feel like automatically the minute I say I do speech therapy, if someone's like, "Oh, my R's or my T8," they immediately think only speech sound production, which is a big component of it.
Yeah.
But it's not the only competency that we have. In the world of rehab speech, if you could separate it with the three, with speech, occupational therapy, and physical therapy, speech therapists, this is a very simplified version because there's lots of overlap. We're almost like neck and up, where we assist with feeding and swallowing,
Uh,
whether that be post-stroke if you're an adult and you're aspirating and you're having food or liquid go into the lungs, we help with that. Or if you're a child with sensory feeding disorders, an infant with latching, breastfeeding, we also help with cognition and memory. So post-brain injury, post-stroke, we assist in that capacity with memory and thinking, and then also language development and supporting that in the young ones, the augmentative alternative communication modalities and enhancing communication in that way. Fluency, like stuttering, so speech coming out smoothly. And and voice. How could I forget voice? And then also the social pragmatic aspects of language. So sometimes I'll have, like, if I go into a home and they're like, "Oh, I have an accent, you might want to work with me." And I'm like, that's not a communication disorder. Having an accent is representation of your culture and your background. It's not a disorder.
right.
We don't, that's also a common misconception is the idea, which some speech therapists do help with accent modification, but that is more of a niche thing and it's more preference. It's not something that we really learn.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. So then, in your experience, do you feel that there is still hesitation in families asking for help in speech therapy, or do you feel that no, it's open, people are very much comfortable doing that? That is your take on this.
With their like families and their awareness of education with speech therapies. Oh yeah, I definitely feel like there's a need for that. I feel yeah, even whenever I would work in the hospital, if we'd get a referral from the doctor for speech therapy, often they're like, "But I can talk. Why are you here?" Very confused with what our scope of practice is. Yeah, so I definitely would say there is a need for more education awareness of what the scope of practice is and what we can do to help. But to simplify it, I would definitely say anything that helps with communication, whether it be understanding it, saying it, you know, any capacity and thinking in the brain.
So let's talk about your big picture vision, where you want to be in next 3 years. What is your vision for next 3 years, where you want to land?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I've been on this journey, just kind of throwing it to the universe, saying, show me, where it takes me now. Because my first goal was to ideally just work for myself and be independent.
Right.
I didn't even fathom bringing other people along for the ride, but I always thought that if I did, I wanted to create my dream job. So I wanted that to translate for them as well. What's important to me is if I grow, the scalability be with high value and integrity and to keep that, alive. So who knows what comes in 3 years? Ideally like a small team of speech therapists that can serve the lifespan and continue to be mobile, a tight knit group that can provide the to me quality or surpasses to quantity. I'd rather have one or two clinicians working with me and it's the best service ever versus 100 and it's subpar.
Again, it's a great motto to focus on quality over quantity. So I
Yes.
think that's the best thing. And I want to ask you, as you hire some people, and of course you may be hiring some more in near future. What do you see in somebody when you bring them on board with yourself? Because being cultural fit is a big topic. It's a big domain where you have to really see that somebody you are bringing in will really understand your values or principles and they will live by your standard. Because especially when you are a small organization, this becomes so important that if you have only handful of people working in a company, you really need to make sure that all of you are aligned on the same vision, you all follow the same core values and principles. So how do you make sure that people you are bringing on board are aligned with your thought process and your vision and mission?
Gosh, yeah, and this has been something now that I've been really thinking about as I'm growing. So it's a good question. I'm glad you're asking it. So when I've been interviewing and talking to people, I like to ask open-ended questions to hear about how they approach families and clients, so to me, because since my model is very different. There's nobody else that does therapy that I've met the way that I do it. So I kind of listen if it's someone who is more open-minded, more empathetic to clients' lived experiences, not as focused on the standard scores and the minutia details and more into what's meaningful to this person and putting the families before what you perceive to be what they need, actually listen and then problem solve with them. So how collaborative the person can be, how open-minded the person can be, those soft skills of interpersonal. I mean, these people, you're going into their homes. It's a very vulnerable situation where families are showing you
Everything.
parts of their life that they might not share with many people, and they're asking for help with something that is big and scary, and it's a lot. So if the person has those soft skills of being a good listener, understanding, asking questions, not being afraid to say, I don't understand, can you explain it to me? And, just I feel that goes even along further than hard clinical skills because that's stuff we can learn. But I feel like those interpersonal human skills go a really long ways. What are the vibes like? Is this person genuine and authentic? Families like, I don't trust this person. There's a sense of warmth experience.
So, final question from my end because we are almost over our time. So, I know you have just started your own venture. You are probably in very initial phases of figuring things out. But if you have to give one advice to somebody who is thinking to start practice just like yourself, if you have to give them one advice from your experience so far, what that advice would be?
Give advice to someone starting off, I would first tell them to make sure it's something that you're highly passionate about and you're good at, because it's going to be something that's going to consume your life. You're going to do it a lot. So make sure you love it and make sure that you're good at it. And then also, the most important part is to really consider the the way you want to serve and the way you want to help and the people that you want to help. And then I like to think, is this how I would want my child to be treated or my loved one? So think about it like that too. And if that's something that you feel confident with, then go for it. But if not, then it might be better to work in a system for some. So I would just say, just make sure you have all those things because it is going to be a lot of work. So just
Yes.
make sure you want to do a lot of work, but something that you're good at, you're passionate about, and that even on the tough days, you still see the value and the passion in it, and you're still gonna go. Because there are hard days where you question everything, and yeah, so that's what I would say.
This is so powerful, and somebody shared with me a message just like that. That this is going to be very tough. If you are not passionate enough, then of course you cannot survive all the hardships, all the challenges, and everything. So we always say that when we are about to give up, just think why you started it in first place. And that should be strong enough reason for you to start a business and to get into a founder god. So thank you so much, Tara. I really, really enjoyed our conversation, and we are looking forward to getting your story out in the public.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I love what you're doing, and I was able to go through and listen to some of your other podcasts, and I really enjoyed your style and your question. So I think we're doing something important here. So
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. Really appreciate it, and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye bye.